Thanks, y'all, for being here. Appreciate the coverage y'all have given us. I think the local people have done a great job covering us all year, and we're getting some national attention now. But I want you to know, myself, coach, staff, administration, really appreciate you guys being here consistently. Huge win on Saturday against a very good App team. I think they're as well coached as anybody in our league. A lot of respect for Coach Satterfield and his staff. I thought it was a great college football game. Such a thin margin between winning and losing when evenly matched teams are, some of those big passes we caught, you're talking about this much between a deflection and a catch, and even the Hail Mary at the end of the game. Not a large margin of between two really good teams. I thought it was a great atmosphere. I thought our students did a tremendous job. I thought the band was great. They're great each and every home game. But we were fortunate to get the win and improved 8-1 and 5-0 in the conference. I'm gonna hit some highs and lows in each phase. Special teams, I thought we were really average in the game. Not bad, but not great. We had too many penalties. Didn't execute a pooch punt in the fourth quarter that thankfully didn't come back to haunt us, but we've got to do a better job executing in that situation. The positives, thought we were excellent on our coverage units all night, and we were solid in the return game. Didn't do anything spectacular, but very, very solid. Defensively, the only negatives is we had some costly, some critical errors on some of their big plays, and some misalignments, some guys getting out of gaps, and we've got to do better. We can't give them anything. And but the positives are we limited the run against one of the best rushing teams in the country. We limited their explosive plays, and I thought our defensive front played at an extremely high level. I thought they controlled the game, especially Junior and Poole inside. I thought they played at a high level. Offensively, negatives, too many penalties, and we dropped the football. We got to catch the ball more consistently than we did, and we didn't take advantage of turnovers. And if we don't do that in this game on Thursday night, that'll come back to haunt us. The positives are we got off to a really good start, had an early lead, controlled the first half. Really should have scored more points, but controlled the game in the first half. Playing against one of the top defenses in the country, one of the top sack teams and tackles for a loss, we only had 4 negative plays out of around 75 snaps in the game. So I thought that was huge. We were really good scoring touchdowns in the red zone, and then we were much improved on third downs, and we executed that final drive. We've been good. We've been fortunate, however you want to look at it, in 2-minute situations, into half, into games this year, as far as getting ourselves the opportunity to score. Players of the week, offensively, is Jordan Chun. I told you after the game, thought he was a stud. After watching it, I thought he played at a high level. 31 carries, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions for 29 yards. He's sore. We're going to have to do a great job getting him ready to go on Thursday night. But he was a player of the week offensively. Defensively, Chris Weatherspoon really playing with a heavy heart, finding out his grandmother had passed away. The day before the game, and he came out, and I thought he played his best game as a Trojan. 4 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 fumble recovery. Thought he played at a high level. He's a really good player. Somebody that does not get talked about nearly enough, but a guy that's having a great year for us. Special teams was Terrace Lewis. Thought he had the big hit on the kickoff that really got the crowd into the game. He was the most productive guy. We grade all of our special teams. He plays on 3 of them, and he graded out being the most productive. Our offensive lineman of the week was Tyler Laster. Could have gone to Tony Garcia or Laster. The 2 tackles, the 2 senior tackles, both played extremely well. But Laster played with great effort, graded out 91%, had 5 knockdowns, and really hustled all over the field. Practiced well last week as well. Scout team guys, I'll just list them in order. Offensive scout team guy player of the week was Jamarius Henderson, guy that we'll talk a lot about next year. Defense scout team was a walk-on true freshman, Abdul McKeeby, who's going to be a really good special teams player for us early in his career, and he's going to play defense for us as well. Special teams scout team player of the week was Key Marvin Pitts, probably as good a kid as we have in our program. Our Corey McCullers Spirit Award, and this goes to the guy that does the best job on sideline. I thought our sideline energy over the last 2 home football games has been fantastic. I think they do a good job of getting our crowd into the game. That was Keith Johnson. And then our Nathan Harris Service Award goes to the guy that does the best job representing us on campus and in the community. This week goes to Trayvon Sanders. He went above and beyond. wrapping it up, I thought it was a big win for our program, without question. I'm very thankful for the fans, band, students for showing up. Thought they were critical in the fourth quarter. That's the best atmosphere of any game that I've been to or that I've participated in as a coach at Troy University. And like I said, small margin for victory. And we're fortunate to win the game, and we'll take it, and we'll move on and move on to Arkansas State. Last week's win, I thought, set up an even bigger game this Saturday. We got a little Fun Belt after dark, Arkansas State and Troy, 8:30, and I'm excited about welcoming ESPNU, getting some national TV audience right here to Troy, Alabama. So it's I think here's the way I look at this game. It's Ark State is the defending conference champion. They've won 4 out of the last 5 conference championships. They've been to 5 consecutive bowl games. They are the team to beat in the Sun Belt Conference. They're the champions until somebody defeats them, and I think they're the hottest team in our league. They're playing at the highest level, and they're playing their best football of the year right now. And that group is really well coached. And if you need, and here's the way I look at it: is anytime somebody can stem the tide and get a team back going. They were 0-4. Coming off a loss to Central Arkansas. I think it speaks really highly to Blake Anderson and his staff to be able to get them off the mat, come back, and not only win, but put 5 wins in a row together against some quality people, but also keep improving. And that just, I think that speaks to the culture that they have there at Arkansas State and the coaching staff they have. I'll talk about each unit offensively. As their quarterback, Hanson, has gotten better. A kid that I'm really familiar with. When I was offense coordinator at Texas Tech, out of Oklahoma, we recruited him really hard. He was one of the top quarterback prospects in the country. As they've chosen him as a starter, and he's got more comfortable, they've played better offensively. They've got a running back that's extremely fast, very similar to Jabir Fry. They're talented at receiver. I think the guy that's playing at the highest level right now is Kendall Sanders, another kid from Texas that really familiar with, that we battled hard against the University of Texas for when I was at Tech and lost him late in the process. And their offensive line is improving. So they're a group that gets better each and every week. And defensively, what they do better than anybody, and hopefully we're working to get to this level, but they create turnovers. And if you look at it since Joe Colton, their defensive coordinator's been there, they've turned people over better than anybody in the country. Very, very talented up front. They've got 2 humongous guys on the defensive line. And they've got the best pass rusher in our league statistically, and a kid named Odom. Their linebackers are making plays, and they've got 2 safeties. The Hunter, another kid from Texas, Prosper, Texas. At Texas Tech, we recruited him, Money, and his brother, who's a receiver at Notre Dame, and the Brown kid at the safety seems like he's been there for a long time. He's made a lot of plays. But defensively, they're statistically really, really highly ranked in all the conference statistics, and got playing. I think they're playing really well. And special teams, they're sound, well coached. You can tell they spend a lot of time on it. And we're gonna have to be ready for a lot of different things. They give you a lot of different looks in kickoff game, punt game. Their return has been solid. Trooper son Blaze has done a good job on punt returns. He's fearless. He fields everything. So sets up for an exciting opportunity for us. It's it's a good opportunity to measure ourselves against what's been the premier program in the Sun Belt Conference over the last 5 years. And senior night, honor a special group. We don't talk about senior night a lot because I think there's more significance in the last game you play rather than senior night. So we won't talk about it a lot, but proud of that group. Again, want to challenge our students and our fans to turn out. This has the makings to be as big a game as any that we've ever played in our Division I history. So I urge you to come out and support our team, but also come out and see what's going to set up as a great college football game. It's going to be late. That's just part of it. But call in work a little late on Friday. So I think it's a huge opportunity for us to show a national TV audience, our community, show them what we've done so far in our program. And you're going to hear me, and you're going to answer. And some of you guys are going to ask me about this national ranking, and I'll say this right now: is I'm proud of it. I think it's significant. It's significant for our conference. I think it's significant for Troy University. It's significant for our athletic department. It proves, it validates what we're doing in our conference and within our football program. But here's the deal: all it does is it changes a little bit. maybe not in this game because we're going after what Arkansas State is. They're the conference champions. That's what we want to be. But what it does is it changes people's approach to us. You know, we've been the team that's going out and done the hunting, trying to gain respect, and now we're going to be the hunted. Maybe not so in this game, but after this one for the rest of the season. So that's it. You know, my challenge to our team is drown out the noise. You know, that's all it is. It doesn't change. Being, you know, top 25, being 8-1, 5-0, none of that changes. Nothing that changes our daily approach, and that's the way we're going to go about it. So if we're able to drown out that noise and show the maturity that I think we have, then we'll come out and play our best game on Thursday night. So with that, questions?
Coach, sure you haven't had practice yet this week.
No, we practiced last night.
Oh, you practiced last night. So have you seen some players still dissatisfied with this season, whether or not you guys are ranked or moving forward and wanting to finish the season?
Yeah, I don't really ask them, to be honest with you. You know, I think we're hungry. I think they've been a coachable group all the way through. We played well at times. And in the first quarter and a half, offensively, that's probably as good as we've played against a quality opponent all year. Defensively, you know, at times in the first half, that's as dominant as we've been. We haven't put a four-quarter game together. You know, I'm still waiting for that. We made some mistakes in all phases. You know, special teams, that's been our edge against a lot of our opponents. I thought we didn't lose the special teams battle, but we definitely didn't win it on Saturday. So that's an area that we can get better. I don't think our guys are satisfied. You know, we want to be conference champions. We want to see how far we can take this. We want to achieve a lot of firsts in our Division I history, and a lot of those firsts are still out there for us to gain.
You know, Coach, this ranking is a testament to, you know, how hard this team has worked and the coaching staff. But what does that mean, really, just for the Troy fan base? That the past couple of years has been a little rough. You get to the point where, you know, now you've got crowds turning out and you're trying to get big on this Thursday.
Well, I think it should garner some more attention. You know, I think hopefully what it does is the fringe fans. You know, we've got a great core. You know, we've got a great core that shows up through thick and thin. What I'm hoping is we have a huge alumni base that all of them are obviously showing up for a football game. So I hope that fringe fan that doesn't follow us each and every week, that sees a national ranking or sees the success we're having, I hope they come in the stadium, because once they come, they're going to recognize what kind of game day atmosphere we have, what a tremendous family event it is, and they're going to continue to come. So I hope that's what that accomplishes.
Is the insertion and development of Justice Hansen the simple, obvious reason why they've been able to turn it around?
Well, I think they've gotten healthy defensively. You know, they missed some guys early in the season, some of those early games. So, and then Justice Hansen, once they settled on him being the quarterback, I think that you can see the chemistry growing between him and the receivers, and the offensive line's playing better too. You know, I think, and like I said, Barry, a lot of credit to that staff. You know, you're talking about a group that was really was a defending conference champion that had so much success, really for the first time in that program over the last 5 or 6 years, had several defeats in a row. For them to get off the mat and respond the way they have, I mean, a lot of credit to them.
You know, Coach, you're talking about a season review, at least at this point, with a few games left. You know, just say a few things about the leadership that one Brandon showed Saturday night, and then definitely got Jordan. It's on this record page. Just say a few things about their leadership.
Yeah, well, I think anytime that you have a really good football team, I think your best players got to be guys that have some leadership about them, have something about them. You know, Brandon's grown the most in that role just because as he's matured, I think people have gained respect for him. He worked harder this offseason than he's ever worked. He's handled his business much. He's approached his play and his preparation better than he ever has. And then Jordan has really, since we started fall camp, the way his day-to-day preparation, that's helped. But the leadership comes, you know, the heart and soul of our team is made up of a lot of guys that y'all don't talk about a whole lot. And I always believe that our culture is stronger than any individual. And if you want to point to a reason why we're having success, there's two reasons. The first one is, or there's three reasons in my mind. The first one is our culture. I think the buy-in rate has been extremely high, and our culture has been developed from the bottom up, and that means from the players up. Okay. The second reason is we have really good players at some key positions. You know, our defensive front is talented. We give people issues there. We've got an NFL running back, and we've got a quarterback that's getting better. So at some key positions, when people look, you know, we've got some difference makers. And then the third thing is I think our staff, not necessarily myself, but I think our unit leaders, our position coaches have done a really good job growing camaraderie within their room and developing some personal relationships.
Going back to Jordan, last year you had Brandon Burks who reached the 1,000-yard rushing mark, and now Jordan has. How have you developed these running backs in your short time here at Troy?
Nah, I don't necessarily. I haven't developed them. I think what's happened is they bought into the year-long process. I think both of them, if you want to point to a reason why they've been successful, is because of the off-season. Sean Reagan's done a great job coaching them day to day, but Raphael Horton's done a tremendous job, in both instances, really getting their body in tip-top shape. And the other thing too is it just came to a point where they're matured. They understood what was potentially at stake for them, and they've taken it.
Coach, you see a lot of times in college football, you get a team that gets a big emotional win and then has a letdown the following week.
Yep.
What are you preaching to your team this week so that doesn't happen?
Yeah, drown out the noise. Hey, nothing changed. We just beat App State. Hey, like I said, a lot of respect for them. Tough physical football game. Arkansas State doesn't care who we play last week. The hope of the 25,000 plus that show up here on Thursday night, they don't care. They don't care who we played last week. National TV audience, not worried about it. You know what I mean? So here's the deal. And I say this a lot, man. If you want to be a champion, you better answer the bell every single time. You better answer the bell. Bottom line is we got 3 games left. We got 20 days left in our season. You can't get yourself ready to go for 20 days? Hey, don't deserve to be champions.
How does this late kickoff change your logistics, meal times?
Worry about the coaches more than I am the players, man. 8:30 is by the time they get kicking. I don't think there's nothing. We move our pregame back. We'll move them around a little bit more, but we have to get Vic and that maybe, but have to get. I think it'll affect the coaches more than it will the players. Honestly, our players be ready to go. We practice every Monday evening. Stacy's here doing I don't know what. He's here late Monday nights, but we practice late. He can tell you we get off the field sometimes, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So these guys are up, regardless of how much I preach about resting. I see their social media, so they're up, so they'll be ready to roll.
I know we're in mid-season and now nearing the end of it, but recruiting-wise, how do you hope that this ranking and that this season can affect recruiting in the future?
Well, it's a positive. It's a positive. And there's a lot of momentum going right now. We've got the new facility that's obviously we did the groundbreaking, had a big press conference on Thursday, so it's a reality. People see that, and then we're winning. So I expect us to sign a really good class, and really the fruits of this season won't show up. It won't show up in this recruiting class. It'll show up in the next one.
Are you doing any different preparation for this short week that anything different you did for the South Alabama?
Nah, we've got a great plan. We worked on Ark State during our bye week before UMass. Similar approach. I thought we played really fast. Didn't particularly play well against South, but we played fast. And our kids will be they'll be ready. Their bodies will be prepared. We'll be prepared to play.
Coach, one thing you preached over and over the season. Every week we come and ask you pretty much the same thing. We're trying to get prepared, and you always say we're taking one game at a time.
Yep.
How has your players really answered that approach, especially now leading up to this point?
Well, I think you got to demand it. I think that the one thing that there's our guys have bought in, and I think that's a product of winning and the success we've had. That's increased that, but they understand it. You got to remember now we're dealing with a team that or a program really since the 2010 season hasn't had just a ton of success. So this winning, this isn't something we take for granted. We understand that what it took to get here. We understand what our recent history is. So I don't think our players are taking that for granted at all. They like the byproducts of winning, and they understand for us to continue to receive those accolades, to receive the attention, we've got to win football games. And the only way you win football games is you prepare. That's it.